Your brain is lying to you. Right now, as you sit there scrolling or watching this video, your mind is actively filtering out the majority of reality, and it's doing so without your permission. That reality you think you're living in, it's a cheap knockoff, a watered-down version of what's actually happening around you. The colors you see, the sounds you hear, even the thoughts you call your own, they're all constructs, carefully curated by an organ that has one job: survival at any cost. This isn't philosophy, it's neuroscience. And if you don't take control of how your brain operates, you'll spend your entire life trapped inside its limitations. Let me say that again. You are being held hostage by the very thing designed to keep you alive. But here's the good news. You can break free. There's an escape key hidden deep within your consciousness, and I'm about to show you where to find it. Why does this matter? Because most people walk through life completely oblivious to the fact that their perception is incomplete. They believe they're seeing the world as it truly is, but nothing could be further from the truth. Your brain doesn't care about accuracy, it cares about efficiency. Evolution didn't design us to marvel at sunsets or ponder quantum mechanics. It designed us to survive long enough to reproduce. So instead of giving you access to raw reality, your brain takes shortcuts, filling in gaps with assumptions and biases that distort everything. Think about it. Every second, millions of bits of sensory data flood into your body, but your brain only processes about 50 bits per second. What happens to the rest? It gets thrown out, or worse, fabricated entirely. You literally construct your reality on the fly, piecing together fragments of information like a sloppy puzzle solver who just fills in whatever seems convenient. But there's a catch. Once you realize this system is rigged against you, once you understand the mechanisms behind these distortions, you gain power over them. This isn't self-help fluff, it's hard science. Researchers have discovered ways to hack our neural wiring, unlocking untapped potential and freeing ourselves from decades of mental programming. Today, we're diving straight into the guts of this machine to figure out how to shut off the autopilot and reclaim your mind. Let's start with something simple: color. Did you know that humans can only perceive a tiny sliver of the electromagnetic spectrum? Light waves stretch infinitely beyond what we can see, from gamma rays to radio waves, but your eyes evolved to detect just a narrow band. Even more shocking, scientists now suspect that other animals experience colors we can't even imagine. Birds, for example, may see ultraviolet hues invisible to human vision. To them, a sunset might look like a kaleidoscope of alien tones we don't have words for. And yet, despite this limited palette, your brain insists it's showing you the full picture. Why? Because it's lazy. Processing additional wavelengths would require energy your ancestors couldn't afford to waste. Instead, your visual cortex cheats, using memory and context to fill in blanks. Ever notice how traffic lights seem brighter at night than during the day? That's not physics. It's your brain exaggerating contrast to make navigating easier. Now, let's talk sound. Most people assume silence exists in nature, but it doesn't. Even in the quietest places on Earth, the middle of the desert or the depths of the ocean, there's noise. In fact, scientists recently discovered that plants emit faint clicking sounds when they're thirsty. Trees communicate acoustically, sending signals underground through fungal networks. Yet your ears block out nearly all of this activity because it's irrelevant to immediate survival. Silence, as you know it, is a myth created by your auditory system. Here's another bombshell. Time itself is an illusion. Studies show that your perception of time changes depending on your emotional state. When you're scared, say falling off a cliff, it feels like everything slows down. But when you're bored, hours drag endlessly. Neurologists explain this phenomenon by pointing out that your brain doesn't measure time linearly. It reconstructs events after they happen, stitching together memories based on importance rather than chronology. This means the past you remember isn't real. It's a patchwork quilt of highlights edited unconsciously by your mind. If that blows your mind, wait until you hear this. Your decisions aren't really yours. For years, researchers believed free will was sacrosanct, a cornerstone of human identity. Then came Benjamin Leibotz's infamous experiment in the 1980s. Using EEG scans, he proved that your brain initiates actions milliseconds before you become aware of deciding to act. In other words, your conscious self is merely along for the ride, rationalizing choices already made by subconscious processes. Free will? More like free suggestion. So if your senses deceive you, time bends unpredictably, and your decisions are pre-programmed, how do you break free? How do you wrestle back control from a system hell-bent on keeping you complacent? The answer lies in neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself. Contrary to outdated beliefs, your gray matter isn't fixed after childhood. Every thought, action, and habit physically alters your neural pathways. By deliberately exposing yourself to new experiences, challenging old assumptions, and practicing mindfulness, you can reshape your brain to serve you rather than sabotage you. Take meditation, for instance. MRI studies reveal that regular meditators develop thicker prefrontal cortices, the part responsible for focus, decision-making, and emotional regulation. Meanwhile, areas associated with fear and stress shrink. Meditation doesn't just calm you, it rewires your brain to prioritize clarity over chaos or consider psychedelics. While controversial, research shows compounds like psilocybin can temporarily dissolve the ego, allowing users to perceive reality unfiltered by ingrained biases. Participants often report profound insights, describing feelings of interconnectedness and awe. One study found that a single dose reduced symptoms of depression for up to 6 months. Whether you agree with their use or not, these substances demonstrate the malleability of human consciousness. Even simpler practices work wonders. Journaling forces you to confront subconscious patterns, while learning new skills creates fresh, neural connections. Physical exercise boosts blood flow to the brain, enhancing cognitive function. Sleep consolidates memories and clears toxins accumulated throughout the day. Each of these habits chips away at the prison walls built by default settings. But perhaps the most powerful tool is curiosity. Question everything. Refuse to accept surface-level explanations. Dig deeper into topics that intrigue you, no matter how complex or intimidating. Curiosity activates the nucleus accumbens, the same region triggered by drugs and sex, releasing dopamine and fueling motivation. It's addictive, in the best possible way. You've spent your entire life locked inside a simulation crafted by billions of years of evolution. But now you know the truth. Your brain isn't perfect. It's flawed, biased, and prone to error. However, armed with knowledge, you hold the keys to freedom. You can choose to remain a passive observer, or you can step into the driver's seat, rewriting the code that governs your existence. If this revelation shook you, hit that like button. Share this video with someone who needs to wake up. Subscribe for more content that challenges your perspective and expands your understanding of the universe. Keep questioning everything, because the moment you stop asking questions is the moment you surrender your humanity. Remember, the escape key is closer than you think. Use it wisely.